Hello, everyone. Welcome to Worship Media. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell.
Good evening, wonderful people, great dear friends, wherever you are. On the face of this very planet Earth, we welcome you to a very somber Radio Biafra live broadcast on this very day, the remembrance of the ASABA massacre that happened on this same day, the 7th of October in 1967, during the era of genocide, what I prefer to call our own Holocaust in Biafra. Today, we remember those that died. Today, we remember those that perished. And we are going to honor them. We are going to remember them. I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to some of you, depending on where you are domiciled around the world. We are live, we are direct, and we are coming to you via a variety of platforms on 102.2, 102.1 FM, CHK, across the length and breadth of Biafra land. We are on Radio Biafra app. We are also on satellite, and we are coming to you via Radio Biafra page on Facebook. Wherever you are and whatever you are doing, we ask you to please abandon it, get your pen and your paper, and come along with a dose of common sense that we may do that which is right before the sons of men on this very earth and Elohim in heaven. Here we propagate this very gospel of redemption. We preach the truth and nothing but the truth, because we remain whiter than white and whiter than snow. Our mission is very simple: to restore Biafra, or we die restoring Biafra. We will not retreat an inch, neither are we going to surrender. Our mission, our purpose is to make sure that a very viable, beautiful, civilized country called Biafra is established in Africa. And that we must accomplish, not through any strength of ours or through any extraordinary intelligence nor intellect, but purely by the grace of the Most High, that we submit to very humbly every day of our lives. As I said, today is a very sad day, a day that will remain in infamy forever and ever, when our people were executed in ASABA for no other reason than the fact that they are Biafrans, and we have been suffering ever since. That is why we have insisted that our security and our well-being as a people can only be guaranteed within a free and prosperous Biafra, away from the damnable zoological republic, away from the evil and darkness, the mediocrity and the lawlessness of the zoo. And that also we must accomplish in our time. We must make sure that Biafra is restored in keeping with our promise to those that have gone before us. If not for any other thing, those of us who happen to domicile in Delta State must understand, appreciate, absorb, and reflect upon what happened to every grown male child in ASABA on this very day, nearly 52 years ago. We must proceed very speedily this evening. As I said before, if you do not have a pen and paper with you, you are doing yourself a great disservice, because this evening, this gospel will be propagated. This very evening, we shall enlighten. This very evening, we shall illuminate. This very evening, we shall bring to the fore that which they have hidden from us. For the truth shall prevail, because our only weapon is truth and steadfastness. If this is your first time of joining us, endeavor to tell those around you to join Radio Biafra this evening by tuning in. Also ensure that you join the nearest IPOB family closest to you, because we are the largest movement, the largest mass movement of its kind anywhere on this very planet, dedicated to the restoration of Biafra. And that is exactly what we are going to do. My name is Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. And by the grace of Elohim, a servant of the wonderful people of Biafra, I welcome you this evening. For some of you in far-flung places like California in USA, I know it is approximately 6 minutes past, either 10 or 11 a.m., I do not know. For those of you in Japan, I think it is about the same number of minutes, about 6 past. I believe it should be 2 or 3 a.m. in Japan. The same thing with Indonesia and also in Australia, and in all these places that are IPOB families. And if you're listening to us from there, please endeavor to find one and join, because here we say what we are going to do and we do what we preach. On this very hallowed platform, I welcome you, and we must pray, because this evening we have a lot to get through. The arrests are continuing. The Fulani terrorists are attacking us at a place called Izi in Ebonyi, where Dave Umahi is presiding over what I would not call an influx of Fulani jihadists, but an army of darkness intent on invading and occupying our land. As I'm speaking to you this very evening, there is very serious engagement going on in that part of the world, because they are all struggling to become the next Igbo president of the zoo. And because of that, they have to mortgage our land. Because of that, they have invited their friends to occupy our land, our farms, and our forests. And we are not going to allow that to happen. And they know it very well. And they're also getting it very hot from us. There will be no fun in this evening, but I'm sure in the coming days I shall endeavor to make sure that each time I am on air, that you will get the opportunity to air your views and exchange ideas with me and with our listeners all over the world. We must pray this very evening. We must pray in remembrance of every family that was affected, which means every family within ASABA was affected by the massacre of nearly 52 years ago. Very, very sad indeed. It was a very dark chapter in our history. Those who say that they are Delta Igbo, perhaps this history is lost on you. Of course, they don't teach history in the schools, in the zoo. But this evening, we shall enlighten you, bring to your knowledge the things that happened that they have been hiding from all of us. If you are not Biafrans in Delta, why would they line up our men in ASABA and slaughter all of them in broad daylight? The man who carried out the massacre is one Ibrahim Taiwo. Very, very sad indeed. But we must proceed. And for us to do so, we must invite the grace of the Most High to be upon us. We must do that which is right before God Almighty in heaven. Eternal Father, you created us in your own image and likeness, but sin and wickedness has warped the minds of men, and throughout the damnable Zoological Republic, Nigeria. These are not the things that you created. You never created Nigeria. Nigeria is a man-made creation. That is why it will come to an end we beseech thee this evening to give us the strength, the courage, the wisdom, and the fortitude to endure all that we have been through, all that we are passing, likely to encounter in time to come, because we know that freedom is not cheap. We know that freedom never ever comes on a platter. We know it has to be taken. We know it needs to be fought for. And that is everything that we are doing within our powers to ensure that your will is done upon the lives of your children. The world at large is watching, but from it comes no justice. There is no justice. What we have is injustice and brutal disregard for the rights of other people to exist as only you, Elohim, intended. You, Almighty Creator, you created Biafra and placed your people within it, which our haters renamed to ASABA, was the land that you gave to your children, and in it we shall dwell for eternity. We call upon thee, Heavenly Father, on this very day, for your grace to dwell upon us, for your mercy to abide with us always. Protect all the men and women that live within ASABA on this very day. Those are our mothers that we are left without husbands. Those are our mothers that we are left without any sons. Please, Father, protect them. Those that we are widowed as a result of the wickedness of the Nigerian army against those that you made in your image. Please protect them. Oh Lord, when you are excluded from the hearts of men, we become unconscionable. The inevitable result is that people suffer, and we are suffering. There is so much injustice and corruption taking place in Nigeria today, not only in the lives of individuals, but also in the corridors of power and the council rooms of many states. We pray, Elohim, that you will right all the wrongs that have been done to your children. You will right every wrong in this very world and vindicate those of us who are being treated unjustly. Keep us, Father, from taking matters into our own hands, for vengeance is yours and yours alone. Only thee, O Lord, in your grace and mercy we pray that you will give justice and peace to all those that have been cruelly and unfairly treated by their fellow man, and may injustice and carelessness that we Biafrans have had to endure become the means to draw us ever closer into your saving arms of grace. Grant us, O Elohim, a vision of your Biafra, as your love would have it, a world where the weak are protected and none will go hungry or poor, a world where the riches of your creation are shared and everyone can enjoy them, a world where different cultures and opinions can live in harmony and mutual respect, a world, a Biafra, where peace is built with justice and justice is guided by love. Give us the inspiration and courage to build it, this hallowed land of Biafra, through your grace and the blood shed in ASABA. We pray unto thee now and forevermore. He said, we must proceed, having prayed and committed ourselves into the loving arms of Elohim. This very gospel this evening will be preached. Some may not like it. Some are averse to the truth. But this truth we must preach. As I said earlier, if you have your pen and paper handy, That will be absolutely marvelous, because this is the finest university anywhere on this very earth, insofar as the study, understanding of the brain of a black man is concerned. This is the platform for you to come to. Between the 2nd and October the 7th of 1967, men in Nigerian army uniforms, they became beasts. They became wild animals and committed crimes against God in heaven and humanity at large. More than 5,000 people, conservatively speaking, we are rounded up in ASABA and brutally mowed down by the machine guns supplied by the British government. We have been suffering, or should I say we had been suffering before then. We have continued to suffer up until this very day, because they hate us. Our enemies despise us because we are blessed. They do not want us to survive as a race. They do not want us to live in freedom, in liberty, and in justice. That is why they came after us, and that is why they will continue to come after us. Conservatively speaking, over 5,000 people were slaughtered in ASABA from soldiers of the 2nd Division, led by Murtala Muhammad. But the man who supervised the senseless slaughter of innocent people, the singular act of the greatest genocide ever performed on the continent of Africa, or should I call it the 2nd Holocaust, after that endured by the Jews in Europe. The man responsible for this gruesome and heinous act is a Yoruba man. His name is Ibrahim Taiwo. They lined up our people. Every able-bodied man in ASABA was killed in one single day. That means that our mothers were left without sons, and our wives were made widows. This Ibrahim Taiwo, serving under the command of Murtala Muhammad, became a widow maker and made women childless. This they don't teach you in schools. That is why I feel very sad when I hear people from ASABA, that is the proper name of ASABA, of course, talk about Biafra in such a condescending manner. I get repulsed by it, because they do not understand history. For reasons best known to our enemies, they have decided to keep the truth away from the people of Delta. And that truth is being revealed this evening. The general officer commanding the GOC of the division was Murtala Muhammad. His operational headquarters was at Umunede. Umunede, that is the name. It's an Igbo name with Igbo people in it. Umunede. It was from there that Taiwo went on his killing spree with his men. They entered into ASABA, and the Holocaust commenced in ASABA. If you're from ASABA, of course, that is the proper name, and you say you are not part of IPOB, you're not part of Biafra, may shame befall you and your family for eternity, because you are blind and you know nothing. This man called Ibrahim Taiwo entered into ASABA and the Holocaust began. There's a place called Obeke Square, St. Joseph's Catholic Church. For those that know, these were the places that the massacres took place. Anywhere they go to, they ask the men to come out. That the war had ended. People will come out. They will line up the men and they will kill all of them. The Europeans don't want to talk about it. The Americans will not talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about what we went through as a people. I repeat, in modern history, that was the second most gruesome Holocaust that any group ever had to go through after the Jews. But nobody wants to talk about it. If you go, it's all about Rwanda and Rohingya. This was a place where Britain and some parts of the world decided that this race must be wiped away from the face of the earth. That is why when I hear people talking about Igbo presidency, I feel sorry for them. When a road is good, you use it more than once. We have been there before. Ironsi paid with his life. Azikiwe was relegated and disgraced into the office of Governor General and later became a ceremonial president, just drinking tea all over the place. You people never learn. You never learn anything from history. That is why IPOB is here, to remind you of who you are, where you're coming from, and where you're going. Our sight, our destination is freedom. That freedom can be found in Biafra, nowhere else. Not in a zoo, not in a restructured Nigeria, not in a regionalized Nigeria, not in a constitutionally sound Nigeria. No, it is within Biafra and Biafra alone. And that's where we're going to. Some of you may be persuaded by the allure of modern primitive politics in Nigeria. The syndrome of it is my turn, let us go and chop our turn. It will not happen, not under our watch. It won't happen. If you reflect upon what happened in ASABA, you will understand how much they hate you. For you to appreciate how you're hated within, for you to understand how much they hate you, you need to understand ASABA massacre. Only then will you appreciate it, how much you're hated. And that is why they keep suppressing it. Nobody wants to talk about it. It concerns the Biafran race. It concerns the Igbo people. Why talk about it? It concerns the Efik and the Jaws. Are we not suffering? Are we not all suffering? Who is having fun? Are the Izon people having fun? The one that they call a Jaw? Are they having fun? I'm asking. They carved us, part of us, and put us in Ondo State. Part of Ijoland is in Ondo State. Of course, they will come with us. We can't leave them. We are in a mess in the zoo. And the sooner we understand this, the better for everybody. As when you're rejected by others, you don't reject yourself. Listen to what happened in ASABA, 7th of October, 1967, for you to appreciate that from birth, from your mother's womb, you have been hated and marked for destruction. They hate you. Why do you think I hate Nigeria so passionately? Because they hate us. They want us all dead. If they can. That was their plan during the war. Our brave Biafran soldiers stopped them. They wanted to kill everybody. What Ibrahim Taiwo did in ASABA, they wanted to do everywhere. They want to kill everybody up to the age of 10, every male child. And then they will force them into the Al-Majri Islamic ways, and that will be the end of us as a people. Our soldiers said no. They kept fighting. They kept fighting until some measure of truce was negotiated, because we never surrendered. Effiong never surrendered. That is a historical fact. A truce was negotiated and instruments of surrender signed. We never capitulated in the battlefield. That is something you must understand. And this generation of IPOB is 100% more stubborn than those that fought between 67 and 70. And here is the reason why. They hate us. They want to kill us. If they have an opportunity, they will keep killing us. And I want everybody in Biafra land to understand this. If you're Ogoni, if you're Izon, if you're Ibibio, if you're Efik, you need to understand this. Death awaits us all in the hands of these people and our children, unless we rise up now to do something about it. I'll continue to tell you what happened. There's a place called Obeke Square, St. Joseph's Catholic Church, St. Patrick's College, a place called Cable Point. There's a place called Ogbe, Osowa. All these places, massacres took place of unarmed. That was where they learned it from, to kill people who are not armed. That is their specialty. That is the specialty of the Nigerian military. To kill unarmed civilians. That is what they specialize in. They have never won any war before outside. That they had the upper hand in the war against Biafra was because Britain was supporting them. Britain said nobody should supply arms to any of the parties fighting that very war. But through the back, Britain negotiated with Russia to be supplying arms to Nigeria. Meanwhile, Britain was busy enforcing blockade that led to the famine that killed millions of people. That is a historical fact. If we had level playing ground to execute that very war, there will be nothing called Nigeria today. But that is analysis for another day. Let us proceed. Families were wiped out. The family of the Ojogus lost 10 members. Mike, Joe, Chukwuji, Moses, Omoham, Sam, Simon Oliver, Nnaji, and many more. No one was left. They will go into a family, there will be no one left in that very family. And do you know why they were doing it? Do you know why this Yoruba man did this? Because as I told you before, just like Tinubu, the Yoruba Muslims are the worst. An average Yoruba man is a very fine, erudite, urbane, sophisticated fellow. But when you enter into Kwara State and its environs, Ilorin, you encounter Yoruba Muslims. They are the problem. This man was killing people and slaughtering everybody in Delta. Once they came in, all the way from Ibanke, Iwakri, they kept killing and killing, village after village. We are wiped out completely by these people. Because Nzogu is from Panama. Nzogu is from Delta State. So how dare Nzogu kill Ahmadu Bello, Sadwana? A Yoruba man was now fighting a Fulani war for them. He wanted the same thing that Tinubu is doing today was what this man did 52 years ago. His name is Ibrahim Taiwo, just like Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The same breed of vampires, the same breed of doing everything to please the caliphate. They want to please them. He wants to be seen as a loyal Yoruba servant of the caliphate. He said to Motala, leave me, let me go and kill the Igbos. Let me go and kill the Biafrans. And as soon as they came in, they started killing. I'm giving you the names of the places where our people were slaughtered. Where they killed our people in ASABA. And surrounding areas as well. Even the Okonji or Iwala, it's too much. The names are here. I'm telling you. I don't know. I don't know. It's just terrible. It's just terrible. I'm telling you. Even Miriam Babangida, the wife of Bongo Zikwe that Babangida took after that encounter. The father was also killed. The father of Miriam Babangida was killed. and Babangida took the daughter. That's how bad it is. The same thing that Omahi and the governors are doing today, giving them the unfettered access into our land. Take whatever you want. All I want is the presidency. Make me vice president. You can come to our land and do anything you like. I don't hate any of them from Adam, but I hate what they are doing to our people and to our land. Our land is sacred. Biafra is not like any other place on this earth. That land is holy. That land is sacred. That is why I say to our people, some of the things that you do, even within Biafra land or outside, you must reflect upon it, because you're a special breed of people. You are so unique. There is no other group like you anywhere on this earth. Understand this very clearly. That is why the ancients say Metu Maribe. That's the meaning of it. There are some things that you do, be it within Biafra land or anywhere you're domiciled around the world, you must remember how unique you are as an individual coming from a very special race. That is why they hate us, because they know we are special. No other reason. They know we are blessed. They know that scientists are born, they don't have to go to school. They know that very well. We are the only people capable of doing something that no other group can do in Africa. I said no other group can do it. What we are capable of doing. That is why they hate us. They killed Miriam Babangida's father, and Babangida took Ndidi. Okongu took the daughter. Unbelievable, isn't it? It is this crazy. There is one Sydney Asiodu who was in Lagos, well known. He was an athlete and moved to UNN and was studying zoology. He represented Nigeria at the Tokyo 1964 Olympic Games. It's unbelievable. He was also killed. And as you know, as with what Dave Omahi and Obiano, what the governors are doing today, was there then. He had an elder brother. His name is Philip, as you do. He was the permanent secretary at the Federal Ministry of Industries. I want our people to listen very carefully this evening. I want to tell you where your problems are, how you can identify them, and how you can get rid of them. You know, that's what they do. They promise you something or they give you a position. In defense of that very position, even if they're killing your brother, you say, don't kill him. Because if you leave him, he will spoil something for us. Even he went to 1964 Tokyo Olympic Games to represent the zoo called Nigeria. Do you know that they killed him in the ASABA massacre? And his senior brother was the permanent secretary, Federal Ministry of Industries. It is unbelievable, isn't it? The same thing they're doing today. In return for your land, basically, in return, if you want to become, they're saying is the turn of the Igbos. So if you want to become the president, they want you to give them our land, as Umahi is doing in Ebonyi. There is a war going on in Ebonyi right now as I speak, and we are meeting them head on, of course, and they know it very well. Right now, as I'm speaking, we are engaging them in Ebonyi as I speak. We are engaging them right now as I speak. Some of you don't know this, and I'm not supposed to say it, but sometimes some of you think that oh, what are they doing? They're not doing anything. We are protecting you. That Ebonyi has not fallen, that Enugu has not fallen, is because of IPOB. As I'm on air this evening speaking and preaching this very divine gospel, we are stopping them in Ebonyi state right now, this very second. IPOB, sacrificing our lives to make sure that the promise that is Biafra is fulfilled in our lifetime. Some people don't understand. There is not something you play out on social media. We are engaging our enemies that have come to take our land from us. And out of frustration, they went and slaughtered some families today in Izzi. It is happening right now as I'm live. Ask Umahi, and Umahi will confirm it right now that there is war going on in Ebonyi. Some of you do not know because hopelessly and foolishly you were busy watching Big Brother or Little Brother, I don't know what you call it. That is how hopeless some of you are. But your land is being ravaged. We are being overwhelmed, so to speak. People don't know what IPOB stands for. They don't know what it means. They think we have come to joke and to play. We have come to defend our land. We have come to restore Biafra. Or we die restoring Biafra. There is no two ways about it. Our people were killed, slaughtered, maimed in ASABA and everywhere else around. What did we do? Nothing. Our crime is that Chukwuokike Abiama blessed us, made us very successful. Everywhere around the zoo called Nigeria, we were successful. It was an Igbo man, Nzogu, who wanted one Nigeria to be a better place that got us into this mess. So when people are talking about presidency, Igbo presidency, just say to them, have you people come again? It was your one Nigeria stupidity, your misplaced nationalism that got us into the mess we are in today. From Azikiwe to Ironsi to Zobo, they put us in this mess we are in today. They have come again now with their useless presidency. It can never be well with them. It is very, very strange, but that was what happened. A lot of people perished. A lot perished and died in ASABA because that was how our enemies wanted it. Therefore, for those of you who think there is hope for we Biafrans in Nigeria, not minding the ASABA massacre, the newly released list of designated points to install toll gates in Nigeria should serve to remind you, in fact, all of us, that this Biafra restoration being piloted by IPOB is the only way out of the misery and bondage that the zoo Nigeria has become for us. It's a death trap for us. I watched the footage of Anambra, I think it was a Owerri Road the other day. It was raining. It felt like River Niger in full flow. I bet you that if anyone were to step into that very fast-moving surface water, they'll be swept away. That's Anambra State. But some of you support the governor of the state. That is one thing that is seriously distressing me. That we are now becoming like Alamajiri. We now celebrate mediocrity and criminality because you're getting something from the master's table. The same thing that the Fulanis did to them, they're now doing to us. And some of you foolishly are falling for it, but not IPOB, thankfully. Before I delve more into the substance of what the remaining part of what we have to bring this evening, I must remind those of you, listen carefully. Let me repeat, I must remind those of you clamoring for Igbo presidency that you are wasting your time. IPOB is dedicated to the restoration of Biafra, and no amount of idle gossip or paid advertorial by sycophantic praise singers, or should I say inconsequential political errand boys, will detract IPOB from our march to freedom. It doesn't matter how many journalists you pay 4,600 naira to be writing press statement for you. It's inconsequential. We are not being moved. We want Biafra, not presidency. Understand this very clearly. Remember what I said before. It was the pursuit of this. I am an Igbo man. I want to root us into the mess we are in today. I have said it before. From Azikiwe to Ironsi to Zobo, it was their desire to make Nigeria a better place for everybody that got us into this mess that led to the ASABA massacre of 52 years ago. The world is watching. If we step into this presidential nonsense, we have lost every right to speak about Biafra in the terms we are doing at the moment. Understand that very clearly. All those errand boys cannot stop us or detract us from our march to freedom. This 4-year cycle of is our turn, misplaced optimism, is not for IPOB. No. We have listened to our people. I don't know when they said we should go and vote out Jubril. And I warned them that your PVCs, they have come again. Oh. That case is still in court. They have come again with their new program of Igbo presidency. There's always a new program, always to keep you busy. So you won't notice that you don't have any hospitals, you don't have any schools, you don't have any roads. Nothing is functioning. Nothing is working. All your eye is now fixated on 2099. Then you get an Igbo president. And then what happens after that? Do you see how foolish people are? Then what happens after that? So if the idiot goes to ASAROC, he would be sharing money door to door every blessed day. Is that what you think? Are you that foolish? People are queuing up for visas to USA, to Europe, to UK, to Japan, to God knows where else. The president or prime minister of these countries that you're struggling to go to, are they from your village? What matters is the policies, not the individual. Not where they come from. You're struggling to go to America. Are you related to Trump? Are you from his village? Does he know who you are? Do you see how foolish we Black Africans are? So somebody's from your, and then so bloody what? Okay, Zibas is from Umba, but the police are in Umba burning down houses. Do you understand what I'm saying? He's from Umba. If this nonsense of it is our turn, let it be our man. If it is true, or to hold true, how come Zibas is from Umba? And in his village, the police are there arresting people, burning down houses. The army are abducting and killing people. But he's the governor of the state. So do you think that if an Igbo man becomes the president of Nigeria, somehow your life will be better? No, it's only for them and their praise singers. That's all. And then you will come back to square zero, talking the same nonsense over again after another 8 years. You people must be sick in the brain, not for IPOB. So I am sounding this note of warning in advance. In advance. Of course, our hope and fervent prayer is that Biafra will be here before then. We must continue. The 4-year cycle of misplaced optimism is not for IPOB. The politics of turn by turn is the turn of Yoruba. Tinubu is the turn of you. Just so pathetic. Nobody's asking what is your program. What do you intend to do? How do you intend to turn things around? It's so hopeless and wretched. It's our turn. And they're intellectuals. These are the people they claim are learned. What qualifies somebody is where they come from. That was why they ended up with a dead brain in Buhari that can't even spell his own name with a forged certificate. Now he's dead. In the name of is our turn, they went to Sudan to go and bring a replacement. It's their turn. That is how foolish some of you are. And I feel sorry for you, honestly speaking. And they'll say PhD. Anyway, when you get PhD from a zoo university, what do you expect? Igbo presidency is like the second Niger bridge. It will never be completed. Maybe like Ogoni cleanup. They flagged it off the first time, second time, third time. Instead, they will go there to destroy people's houses. How about the 30,000 minimum wage? These are promises made. Or we will return you back to 86 naira per liter petrol pump price. What happened? None of these things will ever happen. What is a dream? This is what you tell a woman around 8, 9:30 in the evening. By 5, you change. 5, 6 in the morning, you start saying something completely different. That's how it is. It's to seduce you. So you stop supporting IPOB, you stop supporting Biafra, you start thinking about the contracts you will get when an Igbo man from your village or from your town is there. Because they know that you will always reason like a very foolish African man or woman, as the case may be. These are preview schemes. Second Niger bridge, we're going to clean up. Igbo presidency, minimum wage, Enugu Igbo expressway. We will do this, we will do that. Airport in what's the place? I said we will build an airport in Aguleri. Airport, Lepanande. With Chinese investors, they will build a new city in Aguleri. Whereas the one in ASABA cannot, a Boeing 747 cannot land there. They said it's too small. There's no drainage. Enugu is not working. Where is not working? But they plan to. Have you forgotten that Stella Odua promised us that she will build what's it called, an aircraft maintenance hangar somewhere in Obaro? And I asked her, without an airport, so that does it mean when the aircraft lands in Asaba, then we'll go and tow it or we'll push it to across the river to come and so you can service it in Obaro? These are useless schemes. This is something as is saying that the youths of today are the leaders of tomorrow. You know, it will never happen. Not in the zoo. These are inconsequential schemes, trivial, cooked up and designed to keep you gullible people in the zoo engaged and busy with your self-delusions. You're just insane. Insane. They're saying all these things so that when Tinubu comes, Tinubu will say, who has made the biggest noise in Igbo land? They'll find them, they'll give them maybe 200,000 naira. And you won't hear from them again. They are no longer articulating. It's now about Igbo presidents. They have no honor nor dignity. No honor and no dignity. The one they went for before has failed. Completely and totally. See how foolish they are? You don't know if they're voting an Igbo, if they allow you to bring your so-called Igbo president. After 2 years, they will take permission from Britain and do a coup. Is the man in Egypt not a former military man? Is the man now leading Egypt not a former military man? You claim you're an Igbo man, they will kill you and they will kill your family and the military will take over. Britain will say, go ahead, we'll support you. What will you do? You say rest in peace and we leave it for God. People, you cannot reason beyond your nose. Because of the 2x2 you have in Lagos or in Abuja. That's all. You want to mortgage the future of an entire nation. Those championing this nonsense about one zoo, one Nigeria Igbo presidency garbage, and saying it is the turn of the Southeast, have cleverly forgotten, as they usually do, that not long ago, our own brother, good luck, Ebele Azikiwe, that's his name, Ebele Azikiwe Jonathan, he was a Biafran, or I'm sure he's still a Biafran. He was the president of this Lugardian contraption called Nigeria. Can anybody tell me one visible landmark? Or if we have one notable achievement attributable to Goodluck Jonathan whilst he was in office. Did he succeed in alleviating the economic, social, or political plight of our people? Let me even say, for the benefit of argument, of Niger Delta, are they still not begging for amnesty, 60,000 naira every month? Are they still not begging to be pipeline security guards? He was there for 6 years. And then what happened? Even people like Donald Duke that did something in Cross River. Where is that achievement today? All gone to waste. People don't reason in that zone. They never ever reason. Always looking for the most expedient way out of every mess that they find themselves in. I like Goodluck Jonathan. I even like the wife more, Patience, because she's very vocal and a very strong-spirited woman. Can anybody point to one achievement of Jonathan in office? It was their turn. So they say, he's a Biafran. What was his achievement? Ordinary Enugu Iguacha, which he awarded, was not, they ate the money. Under Jonathan, second Niger bridge was not built, and you expect a Fulani man to build it for you. Unbelievable. Nothing happened. Niger bridge was not built under Jonathan. Enugu Iguacha Expressway was not built. No new industries, no decent public housing, not even common water, drinking water to pipe it to people's homes. Impossible for them to do. I grade Jonathan's presidency as a total failure, the same way that I rate Dr. Azikiwe's presidency was a failure, the same way that I rate Aguirre's presidency or head of stateship as a complete and utter disaster for our people. The same way that I rate Nzogbu's intervention in politics, because he was a soldier, he shouldn't have come into politics at all, as an utter and one almighty catastrophic disaster for our people. Catastrophe it was. And you and I are suffering it till today. ASABA massacre is an example of that. Admittedly, I must give President Jonathan some credit. Admittedly, he ran what came close to a democratic government in terms of individual freedoms and liberty. But developmentally, the way its development impacts on people, on the masses, his administration, like many before it, were found wanting. Forget all that we are the fastest growing economy and all that rubbish. I don't believe in that. If it doesn't impact on the people, no good roads, no good schools, no good hospitals, nothing, and you're saying you're growing, that doesn't make any sense to me at all. Before Jonathan, you have forgotten also those claiming it's our turn. There was a man called Olusegun Obasanjo. Are Yoruba people not suffering today? If having a Yoruba man as a president meant that their lives would somehow improve, why do we have brave men like Showore campaigning for a structural change in Nigeria, calling for a revolution now? Is he not a Yoruba man? And did he not witness a Yoruba presidency? This is for those clamoring for Igbo presidency, thinking we will bring a much needed change in their lives. Look at the pitiful, backward northern Nigeria with their almost illiterate quota judges and professors. What has become of their lives today? The fact that they have been in power for almost 42 out of the 56 years that Nigeria have supposedly existed as a glorified British colony, let's be honest, have lives in the north improved? Let us even go to Daura, where the dead Buhari comes from, and where now the Sudanese Jubril goes to visit once in a while. Have you been to Daura? Are they sharing money in Daura? Are they happy with this buffoon that is there, the Sudanese, governing in the name of their brother, Buhari? The answer is no. So all this nonsense about Igbo presidency, it makes me sick. Very sick. Is to correct the equity. These are the idiots running to America, running to Europe to go and buy houses where things are happening. So why don't you say, oh, I won't have any house in America. I'll have no house in Europe. Because the person, their prime minister or their president is not from my village. It's not our turn. In Daura, you have more people in Daura than in the whole of Anambra put together. You don't know that? In fact, of course, we have no poor people. We are hardworking people. I'm very sorry to have made the comparison anyway, because there are no basis for comparison. We work very hard because we are blessed. We don't go about on the street begging people for handouts to survive, as they do. They do by the allowed. Do we do that nonsense? We don't, because we are hardworking, because we are blessed. Everybody has something they are doing. Everybody, I say, you have something you're doing. So having a president from Daura have not suddenly transformed their fortunes and they've all become millionaires overnight. No, it doesn't work that way. So let's stop this nonsense about Igbo president and talk about our freedom, which is Biafra, which is the only thing that should matter to us anyway, assuming that we are serious about improving our plight in the zoo called Nigeria. Those in the north, are they not being ravaged? Because the type of diseases you have in the north, I've never seen it anywhere else before. Chronic poverty, alamajiri everywhere, banditry, lawlessness, and corruption. Don't they have all these issues in the north more than any other part of the zoo? Where did they have IDP camps? Is it not in the north? Are they not the president? Are they not the chief of army staff, chief of secretary to the state, chief of staff to the president, Air Force chief, every security arm? Are they not the ones in charge? But they are on the streets begging for food. Stop all this nonsense about it's our turn. It's the turn of our people. Why don't we do that? Is for lazy people. Lazy people. People have been brainwashed into believing that having the presidency will somehow make your life better. That is nonsense. There are more Fulani people in IDP camps than when Jonathan, who is not a Fulani man, was in power. There are more people now in IDP camps than when Jonathan was there. But supposedly, of course, Jubil is there on behalf of a Fulani man. Are their lives any better? The answer is no. That is why we must reason. That is the essence of this broadcast this evening, so that we can at least be able to reason. We were told this lie before that things will get better when it gets to the turn of your village. But what we get is the exact opposite. We will not allow ourselves to be deceived with the promise of presidency in return for surrendering our land to Miet Yala and other Fulani terrorists, as is happening in Ebonyi tonight. What we need is a revolution. And that, listen carefully, please, before I get quoted out of context. I use the word revolution. Our revolution is freedom for Biafra. Relentless pursuit of our freedom. People talk about Igbo presidency as if it will solve any of our problems. Is it not the same politicians that pocketed the money that was meant to for the reconstruction of the Enugu-Iguacha Expressway that will be in charge? Is it not the same people? Is it not the same politicians you have now that Enugu-Onitsha road is not passable? Is it not the same crop of people? Are you going to get somebody from the moon to come and be this Igbo president? It's from the same group of criminals. The same group of criminals. The They launder their image, they pay journalists and they write nonsense, the best governor, the this and that. And that. You all know you're deceiving yourselves. That is why when you go back home, you're still faced with the same problems that you had. That mosquito will still be there waiting for you to come back. So it can give you malaria. The mosquito won't go away. You don't know? Because even if you kill it by spraying insecticide, there are many more, breeding in the nearest filthy, stagnant water. They will come in the evening. Who told you that you get rid of mosquitoes by using insecticide? Of course not. You live in a clean environment if you want it to go. That's the only remedy. Or else new ones will come in, more aggressive ones will come in the evening. It's pure common sense. But I'm sure it's in short supply in Africa. But we're here, we give it to you in abundance. This is a lie that presidency will improve you. We will not allow ourselves to be deceived. They are taking our land. They go to Obiano, they say to Obiano, you know what, we've been looking around, it's the turn of the Igbos. You stand a very good chance. Meanwhile, include Mieti Yala in your government, and he will include them. And they're there. And he opened his mouth and said, Mieti Yala is in my government. The same promise they make to Ebonyi State Governor. You're good to us. It's your turn. He'll say, but what do you want? He say, give us his Z. We'll take it. And then you'll be the president. And they go to Abia and they tell that bumbling buffoon, you'll be the president. So when we go to your village and we're burning down people's houses and destroying their businesses and arresting everybody, don't say anything. And you'll be clapping and jumping up and down. Oh, it's my turn. Oh, yes, we have. Especially abundantly in the politicians. Destructive selfishness. As long as they're okay with their families, the rest of it can go to hell. They don't give a damn. But some of you stupidly, as I must commend our coordinator in Texas that confronted those fools planning to invite Obiano to come to America. All their years in America, they've learned nothing. Is to invite a criminal so they can steal money belonging to the masses to bring to America so all of you can drink Hennessy and share it. Incredible. Incredible. What we need is a revolution, and ours is freedom. Ours is freedom because the same criminals who will go in there. These bunch of cowardly Fulani slaves you have in government houses in the East, encouraging Mieti Yala, a terrorist group, to be raping our mothers. They are the ones you are going to vote for as your president, isn't it? The idea of Igbo presidency is a Trojan horse, and they want to use it to dropping our agitation. But I wish to inform them that we won't retreat nor surrender. If you wish to continue being a slave in the zoo called Nigeria, that's entirely up to you and your useless Igbo presidency. But as for this IPOB which I lead, our destination is Biafra. Anyhow they want it, we give it to them. We are going towards Biafra. You either come with us or you relocate to the north and go and stay with them there in Ugawasa. The time now is 3 minutes past 8 p.m. and 3 minutes past the top of the hour, wherever you are. This is Radio Biafra. We are live and we are direct, of course. On this very somber day, we remember those massacred in ASABA exactly 52 years ago. And also dealing with this very nonsensical issue of Igbo presidency. It is a Trojan horse, and they cannot bribe us. If you want to, or if you wish to continue being a slave in Nigeria, that's entirely up to you and your Igbo presidency. We are not going anywhere. Those clamoring for presidency as a means of enriching themselves and their families should instead submit themselves to, or their ideas to, a referendum, so that this issue of presidency versus Biafra will be resolved once and for all time. The notion that having an Igbo president will resolve the mess we are in as a people in the zoo is the most idiotic and ill-conceived notion of politics ever to come out of Nigeria. We are not, by we I mean IPOB, we are not interested in your Nigerian presidency. All we want is Biafra. Those campaigning for Igbo presidency are doing so for their own selfish reasons, as simple as that. It can't solve anything. Are you more intelligent than Zeke? Look at all the idiots clamoring for presidency. Ask yourself this question. Are you more intelligent than Nnamdi Azikiwe? If Nnamdi Azikiwe could not change Nigeria or make the Alamajiris in the north to be able to reason like human beings, who are you to convince them? Who are you? They want to enrich themselves, but they will never ever succeed. It is the highest insult. I read one of our brothers. He's a House of Reps member. His name is Eke. He said, give Igbo's presidency in 2023, end agitation for Biafra. Can you imagine such rubbish? Somebody will just wake up in the morning and be talking nonsense. You just wake up one early morning and all that will come into your brain is hogwash, pure rubbish. And you open your mouth to pour them out to a media that will publish anything. Very sad indeed. IPOB is not a pressure group like OPC or the few Niger Delta resource control militants. There are Niger Delta militants that are real. When Avengers came, the original Avengers, those are people that we identify with. Not all these mushroom groups, resource control. With due respect, I repeat, with due respect to all badly informed analysts, columnists, and commentators, please note that OPC fought, and quite rightly too, what they saw as marginalization of Yoruba indigenes in their own land, especially in Lagos. Some, I must also emphasize, some Niger Delta militants fought for resource control or for an opportunity to become pipeline security guards. That is why some of them opted for peanuts in the name of amnesty payment in return for surrendering their liberty and dignity to the Fulani-controlled Nigerian state. For 60,000 naira per month, they abandoned freedom fighting. We are IPOB. Though a peaceful mass movement, we are singularly dedicated to the enthronement of liberty and freedom in Biafra through the liberation of our ancient land from the iniquitous grip of the zoo called Nigeria. Those foolishly mouth their nonsense that IPOB is a pressure group are only doing so to pander to their own foolishness and ill-informed constituency of Fulani slaves that litter our land. Pressure groups do not ask for freedom, nor do they sacrifice their lives in pursuit of the noble ideal of liberation, as we in IPOB have done, is doing, and will continue to do until the full sovereignty of Biafra is restored. We want nothing to do with Nigeria, and the sooner they realize this, the better for us all. The poorly lettered commentators comparing this great IPOB to local Nigerian pressure groups are in for a shock. You are going to be shocked, I assure you. It's an insult to compare IPOB to a local pressure group campaigning for resource control, campaigning for a share of allocation. Is that why we are here? Why we have lost men? Why we have lost women? So that we can come and be talking about allocation? Let us ask ourselves these questions. Do you think an Igbo president will change admission scores into unity schools? I'm asking you. Some of the entrenched injustices against our people, do you think if you put any of them there, Omahi as the president of Nigeria, that Omahi will have the guts or the presence of mind to go to his masters that fed him, that he read the lections for Inebonyi and said to them, I want to make the scores uniform for everybody going to unity school? Do you think he can do that? Point out one person that has the liver to stand before Alamajiri, the caliphate, and tell them the bitter truth. Which one of them? Just point, name one person. You see that it's none. You saw how they dealt with Jonathan. At the end of his presidency, he was more like a woman. I'm sorry to say. very weak, reduced to nothing. I'm not saying that strength comes from locking up people when they criticize you. No, that is not strength. Decisiveness I'm talking about. He became more and more less decisive in his decision making because he had no choice. When they asked him to sack Hejrika, he did. Look at Purata, he should have been gone on retirement long time ago, but he's still there. That at the slightest success against Boko Haram, they said, you must sack Hejrika. Goading all of you, go after IPOB. This thing IPOB is doing. But these were the same people defending Boko Haram when Hejrika was giving them hell. But some of you don't reason. If you don't have the mettle to stand up and defend your rights, how can you go to Asa Rock and face Alamajiri everywhere? They're everywhere. By the time they pay Yoruba media to start writing against your government, you collapse overnight and they'll take over. And they'll say we had to take over to stop things from getting out of hand. And Britain will say, go ahead and do it. Then to see the pictures of, let me ask you this. How many times have any British dignitary come to Biafra land? They always go to the north. All of them go to the north. Do you know why? They have an understanding with them. Because they are the house niggers. They are the house niggers. It's like Britain is the manufacturer of hard drugs and they're the distributors, the local street gang. That's who they are. They are nothing. That's why they don't go to school. They know nothing, and that's why they are the favorite. You see. So they should stop all that nonsense. Do you think any of these cowards can go and tell them to scrap the quota system they have, the same quota system that produced Ibrahim Tanko, the Chief Justice of the Aeroplane Turner, the Chief Justice of the Zoo? Do you think an Igbo president, who, by the way, in fact, will inevitably emerge from this pool of the slaves you have in Abuja now, or the idiots you have in government houses, giving our land to Mieti Allah, working with Mieti Allah? Mieti Allah is the fourth largest, most deadly terror group in the world. Obiano came out openly and said, they are part of my government. Meanwhile, they're chasing IPOB to kill, torturing people. This is the person you vote as president? And we are finished now. We will be the ones in danger. Not Alamajiri. We will be any day we make that stupid mistake, we will be the ones in danger. Look at their antecedents in office. Look at the way they behave. How many of them have ever stood up in the house apart from Abariba, of course, to challenge the North? And even when Abariba did, they invited him and locked him up at DSS. Obasanjo was there, in case you have forgotten. Obasanjo was a military man and ex-head of state before he became a civilian president. Yet they caged him until he knelt down in front of Atiku to beg. So you don't know that? Somebody as powerful as Obasanjo is, they caged him. He had to kneel down to beg Atiku before he was released. That you're telling me that somebody like Omahi can go there and survive for 2 weeks? You are dreaming, or you don't know what politics is all about, especially in the zoo. We are not succumbing to this nonsensical Igbo presidency. What we want is Biafra in a democracy that will cherish the will of the people the way we were taught that democracy ought to be. In Africa, it is the will of those willing to pull the trigger that prevails. Do you know that no African country practices true democracy? None, not even South Africa. There is not one African country that practices pure or true democracy. None. Biafra will be the first. They will learn from us. We have a lot to teach Africa, I assure you. Our will as a people is that we want Biafra, nothing more, nothing less. These quislings know that our blessed land of Biafra is crying out for freedom, and IPOB have done a lot of work, by the grace of God, of course, to unite our people under this singular purpose. The intention of those campaigning for Igbo presidency are the one Nigeria elements in our midst. They abhor freedom. They wish to remain slaves to their illiterate Fulani masters forever. They can go to the north to serve their masters, that is their business, but not in Biafra land. Go to the north and do your Ankaded and worship them over there. That's entirely your business. There comes a time when any grown man or woman will say that enough is enough. What we continue to experience with this government of Jubril al-Sudani, who is ruling, of course, in the name of the dead Muhammadu Buhari, is the worst forms of oppression, aided and abetted by Igbo governors and those wretched sycophants seeking Igbo presidency. The same APC today that labeled the muted introduction of toll gates a few years back as criminal are themselves today embarking on criminality. Remember the toll gate? This is to remind those of you clamoring for Igbo presidency. And I'm sorry I've had to dwell on this evening. I need to put this very matter to bed. A few years ago, they said, no, toll gate is criminality. Today, they've brought it in because they're criminals. You will never find your advocates of Igbo presidency condemn such dastardly proposal because they are busy telling you that Igbo presidency is all that matters. The same nonsense they fed us before the last Atiku Jubril election. They have come again. No more articulate. That one is gone. The new one now, the new mantra is Igbo presidency. Let us look at the proposed toll gate for Nigeria, for the zoo. Surprise, surprise. Of course I'm not. The Southeast leads with 56 toll gates. 56. We have no roads, so, but they are on top of the army of occupation, police occupation, all the checkpoints we have. They want to add another 56 more checkpoints on top of what we have. But this time around, they'll be giving you receipt as they're taking the money from you. Who proposed it? Fashola, a Yoruba man. We are coming, huh? But they say we don't have land. Remember that man? They said he's the emir of Arugungu. I don't know. He said they don't have land. You know, when they say Biafra, they say Igbo. They know what they're doing. They want to play their usual divide and rule. But when we remind them that Igbo is in Benue, Igbo is in Delta, Igbo is in Cross River, Igbo is in Akwa Ibom, Igbo is in Rivers, Igbo is in Kogi, you see them, they shrink. They say we have no land. Those without land now have the highest number of toll gates. What does that tell you? I told you before that they don't love you. They don't like you. They don't want you to be a part of them. The only reason why we are with them is because of the oil that comes from our land. That is all. And now that their Nama needs the grass in our land as well. So they are coming. But they have land, though we don't. But they are coming to take the land of those who don't have. Can you believe such nonsense? 56 toll gates for Southeast, 21 toll gates for South-South, making it in total in Biafra land 77. This is the full and sanctioned toll gate. What are the toll gates for? You may ask. They are official extortion points, which means that on top of the over 300 police, army, and navy checkpoints in Biafra land, they intend to add another 77. This is a region where there is virtually no federal presence, no road, decent, adequate road infrastructure. But they are here allocating the highest number of extortion points on dilapidated, abandoned roads. This is how one Nigeria works. But those campaigning for Igbo presidency will not tell you about this. Second Night Bridge, no money to complete it, but they're coming to collect money from us on toll gates. Can you believe that? You know, the whole thing sounds so bizarre. Sometimes if you put all these things down, write it down in a book, people reading outside will think it's fiction. It's not possible. Such a thing cannot happen. But it's happening in the zoo. That tells you all you need to know about them. This is one Nigeria. No money to complete second Niger bridge, but they have found money to build 77 kiosks where they'll be collecting money from us. Now let us look at other areas and see. Fashola, who is proposing it, from his own side, Yoruba land, they will only get 22 toll gates. We have 77, they get 22. And how about those who rule Nigeria that say they have land, they have everything? North Central is only 14. They say they are more in population, though. They have more population than us. In the Northeast, that keeps producing one mediocre president after mediocre president. Only 9, but we have 77. And the Northwest, only 12. We have 77. What does that tell you about the zoo? Tomorrow you'll be saying you are part of one Nigeria without shame. These are the deplorable and pitiful conditions we are caged in within Nigeria as slaves. The most distressing and shameful part of this episode is that the Fulani Caliphate, through their Abba Kyari, you know Abba Kyari is the official president, for those who don't know. Abba Kyari, he was the one that recruited Jubril. He's the one that runs the zoo. He does all those answers. Jubril, you find Jubril reading during press and briefing. Is Abba Kyari that makes sure that he does it right. Abba Kyari is actually the official president, or should I say unofficial president of the zoo. He is the leader of the cabal that runs the disastrous administration in the name of the dead Buhari. They can no longer pretend nor hide their hatred for Biafrans. They hate us with a passion. And if you are in any doubt, visit your nearest checkpoint. Go to the nearest army barracks. Go to the law courts and see how people who can barely read nor write the Fulanis are lording it over us on a daily basis. I'm asking Biafrans, if they don't hate us, why would we get 77 targets when they have 9 and 12? This is the regime that some demented Igbo, Efik, Izon, Ibibio, Idoma people come out to praise. Hey, APC is doing well. Oh. They are killing your people. But because all you think about is yourself and your family. Unlike us that is thinking about the well-being of everybody, including your mad selves. All you think about is your family. If I only had my family to think about, by now I'll be a multi-billionaire. But we are fighting for the well-being of everybody. But some of you are busy fighting for your own stomach and that of what you will leave for your family when you're long gone. Let us also look at their so-called security response from the army. The various operations going on around the zoo. Boko Haram is busy ravaging them in their God-forsaken arid Sahel. Whereas the Vandals are busy scavenging in the east in the guise of Operation Python Dance 4. They had Operation Python Dance 1 only this January. Now they have 2 operations in a year. Before it used to be 1 operation in a year. Now it's 2 in a year. Trying to justify the perpetual illegal occupation of Biafra land. I must point out that this so-called one Nigeria, people have joined the mass murderer Yakubu Gowon in praying for unity. As they are killing them in the north, ravaging their land, Gowon is busy praying for unity. It should not be lost on all right-thinking people that Operation Python Dance is the legal cover the Fulani Jihadi army is now using to justify the perpetual military occupation of Biafra land, despite the fact that we are not at war. The war is happening in the north. The banditry is in the north. The kidnapping is in the north. The lawlessness is in the north. The terrorism is in the north. But they're bringing their army to the east. Operation Pattern Dance, to check criminality. But the palace of an emir has been burnt by terrorists. How, if you have all the soldiers you have in the south, in the east, were to be redeployed to the north, there will be no Boko Haram. But with their friends in the media, they know how to hype things up. You know, they have no conscience. Hey, there is lawlessness and criminality everywhere, and they come. But you know that Elohim, that we serve, is very faithful. The more they're running around like headless chicken in the east, Boko Haram is gaining ground in the north. So they'll have no homes to go back to. Those who launched the so-called Operation Pattern Dance for to aid the advance of Fulani, that is what they're doing. The only reason why you have this is to aid Fulani advance their militia, the Yetiala terrorists, to help them to advance into our land and take it over. Because once we confront them, they'll go and call them from their barracks. They'll come and defend them. Some of you don't know that that's what has been happening. When I read some comments on social media, I laugh. People, ignorance is a disease, honestly. Some of you don't know what IPOB is doing. Without IPOB, you would have been gone. By now, you'll be singing Babi Allah somewhere. You'll be gone. They will continue to do our work because that's what Chukwu Kikabiama asked us to do. I want to ask Buratai the following questions. It's very, very important. What was the outcome of Operation Pattern Dance 1, 2, 3? What was the outcome? What lessons did you learn? Who are the people responsible for the supposed insecurity in the country, which you periodically deploy your murderers in uniform to curtail? Once in a while, they say there's insecurity everywhere. Who are the people causing the insecurity? Is it not your fellow Fulani terrorists and bandits? They're the ones going into farmlands and raping women, kidnapping people for ransom. And you bring soldiers into our land. I don't understand it. I just don't. Is there any part of Biafra land that is suffering from the menace of insurgency? The way the supposedly peaceful north is menaced by lawlessness from his fellow Fulani men. I'm asking Buratai a question. Is there any part of the British Zoo called Nigeria that is suffering from insecurity, if not the north? I mean, they call Arewa North, and I don't mean Middle Belt. They call Arewa North. Are they not the ones suffering this security? Are they not the ones in IDP camps? Why therefore have Buratai focused his devilish attention on the east? I want to ask Buratai, since he's a general, he claims he's a general. No doubt another certificate forging, cannot read, cannot spell, cannot write general from the north, because it's all quota. Yeah, they have a quota. I want to ask him if he knows the duties of a soldier in peacetime. Is the army of a country supposedly primed to fend off external aggression or to fight perceived enemies? What is their job? What is the job of the army? Is it to fight external aggressors or to fight people from within or to fight people within? What is the job of the army in any country of the world? You know, when Buratai says we are doing this to check security, people laugh because you're Africans, you don't reason very well. You are in a democracy. The army is there. The reason why an army exists, the reason why Britain brought a standing army to the zoo is so they can have fertile ground to take people when they have wars elsewhere. After independence, The essence of an army is to defend Nigeria against anybody seeking to attack Nigeria from outside. That is the meaning of an army. To defend against external aggression. But you deploy army on the streets all the time to intimidate, because they don't understand what democracy is. A Fulani man don't know what democracy is. They are feudalists. They have feudal lords. They do rank they have an emir. They go and lie on the floor in front of him, begging him for fura de nunu to drink. That's their nature. That is their life. We are not like that. We are Republicans. All men and women, I hasten to add, are born equal before God and before the laws of the land. Not so in the North. We can't be in the same country with them. It's not possible. Chalk and cheese don't mix. That is why they're bringing the army, because they don't understand how to deal with people in a democracy. So that's why any little thing they bring their army. And that is why there is lawlessness in the North. They don't understand what it means to militarize a civil society. They are now reaping the benefits in the North. And you see what will happen to them. Why is the army being used to kill innocent civilians? Why? Anyway, I don't blame them. I blame the Southeast governors. They are the, I don't know. Those people are evil. Very, very evil, I tell you. More evil than you can imagine. And everything I say comes to pass. When it happens, I'll tell you, I told you so. Oh, warn them about their PVC. What happened? They didn't listen. They say register to vote with Fulani INEC chairman. Yeah. And finally, I want to ask Buratai, since the bulk of the Nigerian army is in the south, arresting unarmed innocent civilians and helping Mietiala to consolidate their territorial gains, what are those defending the north? Who are they defending the north? Who is fighting Boko Haram? If all the army is in the south, who is fighting Boko Haram in the north? Because if you were in the north, the MS palace wouldn't have been burnt down. I'm sure you know that. I'm also sure that some of us have come across the headline, Boko Haram insurgents attack Yobe community, set MS palace ablaze. It's everywhere. Every year, anti-insurgency, move the generals to Borno, do this and do that. Boko Haram have continued to wreak havoc. They buy them cars, they put them in the army, they give them everything they want. They're still fighting. But IPOB, we've not carried any arms, we've not killed anyone. Your own governors are conniving with them. Kill them, burn their houses. I can't begin to understand this. I don't understand it. And one day, okay, Zibazu will pay. And the day he pays, some of you will go to social media and you'll be writing nonsense as usual. And we will say we told it to happen. They said the insurgents were on a mission to eliminate the district head in a revenge mission. They burnt a section of the emir's palace in Jajare, in a place called Babangida, headquarters of Tamuwa local government area of Yobe State. Impossible. They come in the afternoon, whereas Burata is in the east doing Python dance 50. And the terrorists are in the north, burning down places and taking over villages. And you're telling me that Nigerians are normal? You're telling me that a Nigerian is a human being worthy of respect? Worthy of respect? Terrorists and bandits are killing you in the north, sacking villages. There are IDP camps all over the place. And what you can do is to mobilize the same army to come down to the south and be disturbing innocent, peace-loving, law-abiding people. Unbelievable. Anyways, what do you expect? What do you expect? No wonder Aisha Buhari fled to London. Even they have now resorted to prayers. Even the terrorists, the Al-Majri in the north, the caliphate, they are now calling on prayers to tackle terrorism menace they themselves created, while Fulani soldiers are deployed to Biafra land to be harassing innocent citizens. They are praying for Boko Haram to go away and all forms of insurgency, whereas they're in the south, fooling themselves, claiming they're fighting insecurity, whereas insecurity is in the north. World Health in the north, UN this in the north, UNICEF in the north. Even the money they said German government gave them, is it not in the north they're going to spend it? Because of IDP camps and insecurity. But they're in the south, disturbing, hard-working, law-abiding people. They are now going spiritually in the north. APC is now praying. I think it was Governor Zulum or whatever it's called. They called 30 clerics for prayers. In the north, they rely on prayers to tackle terrorism and insecurity. But in the east, that is peaceful, they rely on the army to tackle peace. Prayers to tackle terrorism in the north, and the army to tackle peace in the south. As with its foundation, everything about the Fulani Nigeria, that's what it is a Fulani Nigeria. Caliphate is upside down. While we blame the all-conquering but educationally challenged Fulani Caliphate, of course, with the help of the British, for occupying our land, the bulk of the blame lies with Eastern governors, Dave Umahi and his group, and those that support them. You that support them is the problem. Not even Dave Umahi. It is the idiots that support them. The greedy, selfish fools that support them. They are the problem. Of course, they're only a handful. They're in the minority. The minority. Their politics of servitude and acquiescence is what landed us in this desperate situation where Fulani soldiers, instead of remaining in the core north to deal with their banditry, insurgency, and terrorism, they have instead allowed themselves to be used to be tormenting our lives in Biafra land. Those supporting these governors must also partake in the blame as well. Some of you, it's Nigeria. People don't remember anything anymore. Some have forgotten that even Obasanjo a while back reminded Jibril Buhari that his government is empowering Boko Haram. He said it. Go and Google it. The problem with so-called Nigerians is that they don't reason. I keep saying, every broadcaster say it. Nigerians, when somebody says I'm a Nigerian, I know you're lower than an animal. You can't reason very well. You can't. Because if you can reason very well, you cannot say you're a Nigerian. They have all forgotten that Fashoranti, the Afenifere leader, the daughter was killed in Yoruba land. Everyone has forgotten. It's all in the past. The rigged election that Atiku won and Jubril Abakiari rigged. Everybody you've all forgotten about it. Instead, it's 2027 or 2028 in the era. Even in the Middle Belt, they have forgotten. I read somebody, is it Lekwood, somebody from Middle Belt, is saying some nonsense about Biafra and Igbo presidency. He has forgotten. Maybe he has a house in Ashiokoro, in Abuja. Every other person can die and burn to ashes. He doesn't really care. He has gotten his own share of the cake. He says Lekwood. He's in Abuja talking rubbish. These are the people that Fulani groomed to serve their purpose in the Middle Belt. I'm warning him not to meddle into Biafra affairs, just to stay where you are and serve your Fulani masters if that's your portion in life. And stay away from Biafra. We are not interested in any stupid Nigerian presidency. We are not interested. Not one bit. We are not interested. You are from the Middle Belt. You've forgotten how your land was lost to Miyetti terrorists, following headsmen, killing you, renaming your villages, raping your wives and your children. And all you can do is to talk about Biafra. People are seriously condemned, I'm telling you. The humiliation you suffered at the hands of Miyetti should keep you occupied. all of you. Was it not a while back that Danjuma said you must all now defend yourself and you're coming to dabble into Biafra? He said his name is Lekworth. I don't know who he is. We're talking about Biafra and presidency. I will suggest, seriously, because there are some people that I respect talking about Igbo and their presidency. I will seriously suggest that they confine it, let them presidency and go and do whatever they like with it. As for us, our destination is Biafra. No one is going to stop that from happening. These people have no morals and no honor. They have no dignity. They don't know what it means anyway. It's an English language, so they won't even understand the meaning of it. Thank heavens we are fighting for an ideal nation in Biafra and not the zoo. They have closed the border. They will not speak. The border have been closed down. Closure in Nigeria is continuation of economic strangulation of Biafrans. That's what they do. We have no seaports, we have no airports, we have no roads, but they're going to build 77 toll gates. Don't forget that. And even the borders, they are closing it. I asked you to bring your pen and your paper this evening. So that's a bit of work to do, because some people don't quite understand what is happening in Africa. We are in serious mess. You know, when I say it, people say, oh, the way he says it turns me off. Because you don't actually understand what written law is. What it's all about. You don't know what written law is. We'll get to that later. And how written law, ECOWAS. You see this border closure, the ECOWAS treaty itself. It's just like saying you're moving goods and services across the borders of European countries. Who searches you? Don't you see all those big lorries, those of you that live in Europe, traveling, crisscrossing one country to another? Who stops them? Nobody. Let's continue. It's very important you understand this. The border closure is to suffer Biafrans, nothing more, nothing less. And I want Amakeko to post the video of people actually smuggling rice in the north and the pictures. Let the world understand that there are people smuggling. The northern borders are open, but the southern borders are shut. That is Nigeria for you. And the customs of, should I say, the Supremo, the Comptroller General, whatever rubbish they call him, is actually a Fulani man. He's in the south, overseeing border closures in the south, but in the north, the borders are open. And people are telling me that they are normal in Nigeria. This is okay. Oh, dear me. It did not start today and it will not end unless we get our Biafra. That's the only savior. The only savior. To provide some semblance of context in this very matter, I would like Biafrans to please refer to ECOWAS treaty ratification. Go to Google it, just type it in Google, ECOWAS treaty, and read. And see if it is compatible with the border closures that they have. When it is time for litigation, you will not see all these useless lawyers in Nigeria litigate. When if it is gossip, they start yapping rubbish. The closure of the boundaries is illegal. It goes contrary to the provisions of ECOWAS, a treaty that they all signed in Abuja. Oh dear me. They allow me to come here every day, teaching me, lecturing them for nothing. All the traders affected should just go and hire a half-decent lawyer and file a suit, either in Cotonou or any of the West African countries, because the closure of the border is illegal. It runs contrary to the conventions, or should I say the Treaty of ECOWAS. It's there, and I'm going to tell you now where to find it. Very easy and simple. To provide some semblance of context, I must tell you, go back to ECOWAS treaty ratification. You see, the problem of disobedience to the rule of law is endemic across Black Africa. I don't know what's wrong with Africans. They don't know how to obey the laws that they've actually written them themselves. Nobody forced them to make the laws. They make it and they break it. And when you hold them responsible, they just simply ignore the court. Do you see why the white supremacists call you monkeys and baboons from Africa? And you get upset. I don't get upset. Because they are correct. You get upset because if you go back and reflect and look at yourself in the mirror and the way you behave, you know there's no difference between you and a baboon. in the forest somewhere. You made laws, you wrote treaty. Oh, because EU, that is EU, you have all these trading blocks. You know, Africans, just like the way they changed their competition to Champions League, because there's Champions League in Europe. So CAF now needs to have their own Champions League as well. Anything you see, you copy without following the discipline that underpins that very thing that you're seeking to copy. You saw EU and you copied your own ECOWAS, free movement of goods and services. And you are deporting people from Ghana. When the treaty says there should be no deportation, it's very clear. People can settle wherever they like across West Africa. It's in the treaty. Hi, blacks. Let's continue. I want everybody to please Google ECOWAS revised treaty. I'll give you some minutes. Google it, ECOWAS revised, REVISED, revised treaty. You will find it online. Quickly go to page 5, please. Amaka, copy this very page and put it up on my wall, if you may, please. Go to page 5 of ECOWAS revised treaty. It's called Article 3, the aims and objectives of ECOWAS. They want to recreate an economic union and free travel zone as you have with the EU. You know, we black Africans now, anything we see, we copy. Like a suit, anything we see from abroad, we borrow, we copy. But we don't know how to maintain it. Very sad indeed. What does Article 3, subsection 2E say in ECOWAS treaty? I'll read it for you. It is the establishment of an economic union through the adoption of common policies in the economic, financial, social, and cultural sectors, and the creation of a monetary union. Monetary union, like the way you have the euro. That's where they're heading to. Now, let us go to section 2D. They want to create something like the euro now because they have said it here. That's what they're going to do. Now, let us go to section 2D. The establishment of this common market. You know, the EU was a common market before they moved slightly political, and the British got upset about it. Section 2D, subsection 1 says, listen carefully, please, the liberalization of trade by the, listen to the grammar, by the abolition. That is the key word, abolition. That means to do away with, to abolish it completely. What are they abolishing? Amongst member states, as they said, customs duties levied on imports and exports, and the abolition, another word, strong abolition again, among member states of non-tariff barriers in order to establish a free trade area at the community level. Are you listening? The liberalization of trade by the abolition among other member states of customs duties levied on imports and exports, and the abolition among member states of non-tariff barriers in order to establish a free trade area at the community level. They copied this thing from the EU Charter. Let's stop the EU. Do you know that when you get to Cotonou or some border and you have a barrier there, it shouldn't be there? Are you aware of that? Nobody should ask you any questions because that's what the treaty says. The worst they can do is to say, where is your passport? I want to identify who you are. But there should be no barrier. Freedom of movement of goods and services. Let us go to section 2D, subsection I. Now listen. Listen carefully to ECOWAS treaty. In case you are being deported from Ghana, you shouldn't come back, go and get a lawyer. Because ECOWAS treaty says you can be in Ghana for the rest of your life if you want. And every vice versa for Ghanaians who are living anywhere in the zoo. The law says you cannot, you can settle there if you want. You don't need to renew your visa. It is here in ECOWAS treaty. That's what they said in plain, simple English, in black and in white. What does it say? It says, the removal between member states of obstacles to the free movement of persons, removal of any barrier. There should be no barrier that should prevent people from moving about their goods, which means that the closure of semi-border is illegal. You should not block their goods or their services and capital. In other words, you can take your money from anywhere and go to any West African country as a West African citizen or whatever it is and invest there. Nobody should ask you any questions. That is what he's saying here. Free flow of capital. And the right, listen carefully, you have the right of residence and establishment. But you have Ghanaian law enforcement officers pursuing people, say, yo, you're a Nigerian, come, I want to send you back. But ECOWAS treaty says that Ghana signed up to, 15 of them signed and said, you can live anywhere in West Africa. And closure of semi-border is illegal. But they don't know. You know, they're Nigerians. What do they know? It's for free. You see, if they had succeeded in closing Radio Biafra, would they get this education for free? No, they won't. That is why IPOB and Radio Biafra, we mean well for humanity. We don't want to cheat anybody. We don't want anybody to cheat us. That's all. We don't hate anybody. We only hate those that hate us. If you hate us, we'll hate you even twice more. That is why I despise the zoo. It is here in black and white. Let us reconcile what the treaty is now saying with what is happening at semi-border and other borders across the south that the Fulanis from the north have closed. Is it not very clear now to those of you that claim you are the elite, the governing elite, that you are as daft as this animal that they call idiot? You know, there's an animal they call idiot. The so-called elites, they're as daft as an idiot. They know nothing, their brains are empty. These are the people who want to vote as your president. Then I'm here. Tons. From left to right, all of them. I hope we have this evening opened your eyes to the reality that Nigerians are living in darkness. If you're a businessman and they said you should not cross a border with your goods, simply go and print this article, print this page from ECOWAS and show it to the person. They will get out of the way. That is what the law says. ECOWAS treaty is a law. The law says you cannot close semi-border. You cannot close it. That's what the law says. And they must open it. They are doing their thing there. You know, that's exactly what happened when they charged us with terrorism. And when we went to court and we asked them to prove it, prima facie, they all fell apart. When they were closing the border, they thought they were trying, they are being vindictive towards Biafrans. But even that, with your own pen, Obasanjo with his pen signed and said, semi-border must remain open for the life of this treaty. Every border in Africa should remain open, in West Africa, at least. That is what the treaty says. The same way, somebody flying from Germany to Belgium, do you pass through immigration? The answer is no. You just cross and go because it's Schengen to Schengen, EU to EU. When you copy something and do it the way it's supposed to be done. Not copy and mess everything up. Black people. Unbelievable. Why did they close the borders in the south? As I've said before, the answer is very simple: to punish Biafrans, nothing more, nothing less. To make the Igbo man suffer. To impoverish the Izon man and to make the life of an average Efiku, Isoko Idoma, and the Shekiri unbearable. This is our punishment. The more you remain in Nigeria, the more this punishment will keep coming to us. This is God telling us, get away from this hellhole. That's what it is. Shithole, as Trump would say. Every region will get their just desserts, just as the Middle Belt is almost gone for their role in supporting an unjust war against Biafra. It does not give me joy to say this, but today, the Middle Belt is suffering. And the more the sooner they realize it and wake up, the better for them. And we'll help them to become free. We'll help them to become free. Go on can embark on as many prayer sessions as possible. The fact remains that what happened, the fate that befell the Awasa race for accommodating the Fulanis will happen to Gowon and his people. It happened to Gowon and his people. Now that, especially now that Tabakir and El-Rufai have said that Nigeria is the home of all Fulanis in Africa, what do you think is going to happen? Where do you think they will resettle them? It's in the Middle Belt. Where else? Because we won't let them come into our land. They are going to suffer it unless they wake up now and not tomorrow. Unless they rise up now and not tomorrow and free themselves from the stranglehold of Arawa North. Anybody contemplating accommodating Fulani must not look further than the fate that befell the Hausa race. Do you know how great the Hausa Empire was? Some of you don't know. Go and read history. They were preeminent. Do you know that the Hausa people were manufacturing guns nearly 300 years ago? Do you know that over 300 years ago? Do you know this Hausa you're looking at today that is down and out? Do you know that they were once vibrant, progressive, forward-thinking civilization? I respect them for. I keep saying that I respect Hausa for that. I respect them. They made the mistake of allowing the Fulanis in, and once the Fulani changed their land, Hausa land go bare, present-day Sokoto, and they named it Sokoto, it was the end for them. That was their end. Gobe is now Sokoto. It's over for them. Where was Hausa land before? But today, every emir in the north is Fulani. And Hausa are just there doing rankaded and doing begging. The same thing will happen to Middle Belt. If Yoruba doesn't take time, the same thing will happen to them as well. That is how it goes. Or as they say in America, that's how the cookie crumbles. If you think you're hating on Biafra, you're trying to spite Biafra, you end up spiting yourself. As the Middle Belt have now discovered. They thought their hatred for Biafra, for an Igbo man, will somehow endear them to the Fulanis. Today, the Fulanis need their land to settle those coming in from outside. And they are suffering it. And it is war without end. They must know that. From seemingly insurmountable preeminence, the great Hausa race have now been reduced to water carriers for their Fulani conquerors. Once they changed the name of Gobe to Sokoto, that was the end of the Hausa political fate. They sealed it completely. Their fate was gone. Any ethnic nationality in Nigeria that does not want to end up like the Hausa people must join IPOB to see self-determination. So you be free on your own, not to somebody misunderstood or misread what I said the last time. I'm not saying that Bini people should be part of Biafra. I'm saying that Bini is big enough and has a very rich heritage that can sustain an independent, autonomous existence away from Biafra and from any other person. After all, they existed independently for thousands of years before the white man came. So please, I wish to clarify that. Do not misunderstand me. I want everybody to be free. I want the Middle Belt to be free. I want everybody to be free. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you should come and join Biafra so we can all be in Biafra. No. Those saying that we are all Biafrans are saying it, how did they actually say it? Is metaphorically, not literally, please. Very, very important. Very, very important. We understand that. You must know, I want to go back to the issue of border closure because some people don't know this. Unbeknown to some people, the border closures only applies to the south. In the north, where there are no effective borders, because there are no borders in the north, trade is going on, both licit and illicit trade. There are pictures and videos of Astamaka to do of Fulani Alimajiri ferrying bags of, you can see them on their motorbikes, ferrying bags of rice across the border. No customs, no checkpoint, no police, no army. And some of you are in Makurdi, Calabar, Warri, Igbo, Enugu, Abakaliki, Badagry, and Lagos, shouting one Nigeria. How pathetic you are. How pathetic some of us are in having not recognized that this is the worst form of economic strangulation, contrary to what ECOWAS Treaty says. This is an area that calls for immediate legal action, both in Nigeria, where they litigate on inconsequential issues, but when the meaty or heavier ones come up, you see them floundering all over the place. The borders should be open because it's against the law. This is against the law. And it was designed deliberately to punish a specific race and tribe. What are the people that import critical food items? Who are they if not Biafrans? Who imports, who is into importation if not Biafrans? You do your maths and you will know. And tomorrow you tell me you're in Lagos, you believe in one Nigeria. Everybody knows the Mai Adua border. If you know it, you know it. That is where they are. It is not too far from Buhari's hometown, the dead Buhari, not Jubilee. Jubilee is from Sudan. That is where they use bicycle and motorcycle to go across the border to go and bring bags of rice. And some of you are busy talking about one Nigeria when they are busy shutting down your borders and going to Niger and to Chad to go and bring in rice. As somebody quite rightly said, what is the name of this gentleman who wrote something? He very cleverly, he wrote very, very cleverly. His name is Adeti Lewa Adetomiwa. I think that's his name. I don't know if I pronounced the name correctly. He wrote very, very brilliantly. He said, closing border to stop smuggling of goods, you don't stupidity. Of course, everyone knows that. Charging high tariff on all goods you don't produce or have alternative for is extended stupidity. But you are talking to Alamajiri, you are talking to Fulani Caliphate. They are deaf, they are dumb. They forged certificate, they didn't go to school. I just want them to understand. Certificates are forged. They asked Tanko Ibrahim, where is your certificate? He said, Tamis ate it. He is the Chief Justice of Nigeria based on affidavit. Jubril is there based on affidavit. They don't read, they don't understand. So how would they know what you're talking about? They don't know. And those that thought before they were immune from Fulani headsmen, they are suffering it today. Because there's a place called Inkek village in Okanafun, local military of Akwa Ibom State. They have killed a farmer there. But Buratai said he came because of insecurity in the east. But his people are the ones doing the... Wherever you find any insecurities, Fulani, now they have gone and killed somebody in Akwa Ibom. Because they want our land. And we will not give it to them. And of course, with the cooperation of the village, we will also meet them there in less than no time. The time now is approximately, or should I say, precisely 3 minutes past the hour of 9 in the evening. And also the same number of minutes past the hour wherever you are all over the world. I want to reiterate before we close this very evening that there is a part of Biafra in Ondo State, Izon, or some say Ijo in Ondo State. They are coming with us in Biafra, the same as Bakassi. No part of Biafra will be left or hived off to anybody. We have suffered enough with gerrymandering of borders. It will not happen in Biafra. And on that very note, I bring tonight's proceedings to a close. Once again, we pray and remember those that died 52 years ago in ASABA, those who were murdered and massacred by the Nigerian army. May Chukwuka grant them eternal rest. And because of their loss and the pain is left in our hearts, we shall pursue Biafra to its logical conclusion, and we shall be free. Here on this very hallowed platform is Radio Biafra, is where we worship. Here. Because we must always speak the truth. And that truth is what is setting Biafra free. Not because of what we do. What we do accounts for part of our success. But above all, because we stand on the truth. That is why we keep marching forward. And Chukwukikabiyama in heaven, whom we worship, is our God. Thank you very much for listening from me from here. It is good evening.